Now it's 2 minutes past 11.
That since 1932 have tickled your aunt with a feather. Years ago, the music of Johann Strauss was comic relief from broadcasting that took itself very seriously. Those were the days when the announcers wore black tie to read the news, and they all had plummy, overdone accents. There were some plays, some of which attempted a rather formal humour, but unfortunately all that remains of them are a couple of yellowed pages of the scripts. They were broadcast live, and nothing remains recorded. The musicals, however, were the mainstay in this world struggling out of the Great Depression. There was Chu Chin Chow, Dollar Princess, The Waltz Dream, OK, Countess Maritza, The Land of Smiles, something called The Duchess Was Furious, Die Fledermaus, and all those others. It's somehow significant that in this 50th year, Die Fledermaus is being broadcast again, this time live from the Sydney Opera House on colour television and in stereophonic sound. The first production sounded rather like a performance over the telephone. But since tape recorders were still on the way to being invented, it was all very live. During these early years, two great names in Australian comedy worked for the ABC before leaving later to go commercial. George Wallace and the great Mo, Roy Reen.
Hey, Dad! Where are you, Dad? Here I am, young Harry! The barmaid and the butcher.
Hey, you!
Oh, blimey, he's here again. What is it, sir?
What did the barmaid really say to the butcher?
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you, if you'll only give me a fair go. The barmaid and the butcher. Once upon a time, there was a dear little barmaid called Gracie, and she was a member of the ladies' cricket team.
Does Gracie bat?
No, Gracie Fields.
George Wallace was an all-round showman. One of his immortal characterizations was as Sophie the Salt on the Bus, with that outrageous wig, the withering glance, and magnificent offended dignity.
You know, I'm a girl who likes refinement and culture and music. I always try to act like a lady, speak like a lady, and to do and to say the things that a lady would do. Always be the perfect lady. I'm having a stink with a sailor in a fish shop the other night. She's frying a bit of mullet a night when he bit with the gills in. And one word led to another and she let go through it, see? Now, I don't know if you've ever been smacked in the mouth with a bit of mullet. With the gills in. But it's an nauseating experience. And it's an each way bet because you don't know how to which gill the fat's going to squirt first. But I retained my dignity, breathing without... I said, fiddly-dee. French. And went to sweep regally out of the fish shop. But some galah had left half for Frankfurt on the floor. Now I skidded on that, bashed the base of my skull on the iron railing of the counter. My right hand went in the bat of that. And I finished up in a mangled heap on the floor, unconscious on a bag of prawns. Fishing purposes, 8 bob a pound.
In the years leading to World War II, we heard some reviews that bore names like Is There a Sturgeon in the House? And Roman Days, spelt with a Z. But lurking in the latter rows of the orchestra that accompanied these productions was a man whose subsequent career was to shape comedy on the ABC throughout the 40s and well into the 50s. His name? Dick Bentley.
Dick, what's your first memory of the ABC as a comic?
All my life, I think, from young, in my 20s, I used to tell funny stories to people, you see, and sometimes I was put into sketches. And I think it was from that I thought, yes, I like this comedy bit.
I remember some of the funniest things were the warm-ups, the bits that never were really allowed to get to air.
Yes, oh, well,
Do you enjoy the warm-ups?
You've got a free hand there. You start off on a basis that I've got a letter from my mother. I'd love to read it to you. She's a wonderful old lady, my mother. She's 82 and not one grey hair. Completely bald. She says here, "Dear Sir or Madam," and for some reason or other they was laughing. I said she always was a little short-sighted, but she says, "We read in the papers you have not been very well. Thank you for the money you sent. Father says if we're ever in Lithuania, we'll spend it." Bad news about your Uncle Fred. Last week he drank a pint and a half of French polish and died. He had a very lovely finish. I could barely bring myself to say that sort of thing. Must close now as your granny wants the buyer over to do her eyebrows. Yours sincerely, Mrs. E. Bentley, Spinster.
There's comedy, drama, pathos, song out of the bag. Something to make your sad heart spring with laughter. Something to make you whistle the morning after. The kids just pull them out of the hat. But we have the better idea than that. The fun of this and the fun of that. Out of the bag.
It was in the grim days of World War II that the ABC began to take comedy seriously. Out of the Bag was now well established, and it was at this time that the first of the comedy programs from the BBC began to arrive. Although at the same time, two of the great names in British comedy were writing shows in Australia, Frank Muir and Dennis Norden.
When we left Superman last week, he was lashed to the steering wheel of a runaway car. The car is hurtling towards a level crossing where an express train is racing along at 90 miles an hour. Can Superman stop the car? Can he free himself in time? Can he avoid crashing into the oncoming train? Apparently not.
Gently, Bentley!
Friends, I've been listening to the radio again, to those gangster plays they put on not more than 18 times a week. And I hear that some citizens are complaining that there's too much brutality in these gangster epics. They want the radio stations to cut out all the sadistic stuff, make it suitable for kids to listen to. And it's quite an idea. Just imagine one of those gangster dramas with all the rough stuff made more gentle. Just imagine...
So you won't talk, huh? I know how to make a guy talk. How'd you like to be beaten around the head with this?
Oh, no, Lefty, no. Not with a...
Watch him, Lefty. He's reaching for his pistol.
It ain't loaded. After I frisked him, I squeezed the trigger and emptied all the water into a jam jar. So, you squealed to the cops, hey, Louis?
Oh, well, I couldn't help it, Lefty. They took me down to headquarters. You don't know what they did to me there. They flicked my tie out. They ruffled my hair. And they walked around me, 8 of them, pointing their fingers and saying, Sapio Louie, Sapio Louie. Oh, gosh, I couldn't take it, Lefty. I just couldn't.
Ah, he's falling apart. Here, kid, drink this.
Yeah, give me the bottle.
Well, don't drink at all. We'll have nothing to make cocoa with.
Most of these programs, like Itma, Much Binding in the Marsh, The Victory Show, haven't travelled well.
I'll show them how to celebrate V-Day. I'll organize the celebrations. Now, what should we have first?
A large brandy, sir.
Oh, dear. It's old beer Gint. Are you still celebrating, Colonel?
I've celebrated every victory since Mafeking's.
By the look of your face, you must have started with William the Pub Crawler.
Can I do you now, sir?
Good morning, sir. Was there something?
Good morning, Costa. How's Emily?
Well, she's a bit worried with her twinges again, sir. She's just had a bout.
About how many?
No, sir, no. She got twinges again, and Dr. Turnbull has recommended witch hazel.
Witch hazel?
He didn't say, sir. It's very worrying.
Yeah, but you're not the worrying kind, Costa.
Well, and then I've had this PAYE form. PAYE. For all the sense it makes to me, it might as well stand for pay as you earn.
Well, you better let me handle this, Costa. I've had a great deal of experience with these forms from my employees in the city. Dealing with them every day is just routine stuff. Now then, I expect that's form P74X or possibly Y.
Possibly Y what, sir?
Just Y. P74X or possibly P74Y.
Oh.
No, it couldn't be O. P74O is a license to buy a tricycle for a child without rubber tires.
During the war, we heard the Village Glee Club, and from a young man who'd just arrived in Australia who billed himself as the last of the hillbillies. Before his $1 million career took off, he started out in a program called Dude Ranch.
Bob was a load of fun to work with, and I think I learned more about comedy from Bob, audience comedy that is, than I did from anybody else at that time. I've never known a man to do a warm-up like Bob. People say comedians do anything to get a laugh. Bob knew that he had to do anything to get a laugh, and in the warm-up sometimes, I can remember just before we went on the air, he'd say, now, when I raise my arms, I want you to laugh. And when he raised his arms, they laughed because his pants came off at the same time, and he had red drawers on. That was a big, big yell for everybody.
Howdy, customers!
In the decade 1945 to 55, not a great deal that was new seemed to appear. But as everyone got on with the job of getting back to a normal life, the old favourites carried on. Much Binding in the Marsh, Over to You, Educating Archie, and that included a series done in Australia, and the Village Glee Club. Dick Bentley was still playing to capacity studio audiences when he went to London, where he appeared in a new show called Take It From Here.
Isn't it nice sitting here on the sofa quietly doing the crossword together? Oh, fancy you finishing your copy of the crossword already, and I've hardly started. You are clever, aren't you, Ron?
Yes, Eth.
Well, I must just check if I've got some of my answers right. Ron, what have you put down for 8 across, beloved?
8 across, Flobbergob.
Flobbergob? I've never heard of that word, Ron.
Neither have I yet.
Oh, Ron, the idea is you put down real words. You mustn't just put down anything.
Oh. Can I have a borrow of your rubber, then?
You are. You see, Ron, it's no good making up words. They've got to mean real things.
I see. Is there such a thing as a Zosh?
No, Ron.
An Akbok?
No, Ron.
A Yif?
No, dearest.
Oh. You'd better leave the rubber my side, beloved.
Ron, and I thought you'd finished. Flobbergob. The clue was forsaken, 8 letters, and the answer's derelict, Ron.
Derelict.
Well, it wouldn't be so bad if you got abandoned.
Oh, righto, Eth, yes. Yes.
Ron, now it's that.
Well, just a kiss.
Oh, Ron, you're getting your biro sticking in my ear.
Hello. What's this, Ron converting a try? Here, quick, Ron. Out the way of the sideboard. I want to get me spare pair of braces and a walnut.
What for, Mr. Glum?
That blasted tabby cat's in among my cabbages again. I'll have to... Here, what's this you two are busy on? A crossword puzzle? Oh, I love crosswords. How you getting on?
Not very well, Dad. Eth says my Flobbergob is derelict.
Wow, we're none of us getting any younger.
Oh, no, Mr. Glum, Ron just hasn't got the hang of it at all. He puts down words that don't even exist.
Oh, well, now, let's see if I can help, then. What's this here? 7 across. Opposite of first. Well, that's simple enough. Hunger.
In 1956, the powers that used to be at the ABC let their hair down and decided to seek an audience reaction to a show that had begun on the BBC some 5 years earlier. Well, reaction was so good that The Goon Show is still playing reruns 30 years later. The Goons were chiefly the creations of 4 men who'd survived the war and were trying to make a living in the entertainment world. Peter Sellers, Michael Bentine, Spike Milligan, and Harry Seacombe.
This is the BBC. Oh, come, dear listeners. You know, it's not that bad.
Of course not. Come, Mr. Greenslade, tell them the good news.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the extraordinary talking-type wireless Goon Show.
Is the popularity waning?
The scene is a certain place at a certain time in a certain year.
We're not giving anything away tonight, folks. Can we have an attack of the thunders, please?
What are you doing at the window, min of mine?
I'm counting the rain, Cocky.
Come away at once, min. Supposing people saw you counting rain on a Sunday, what would they say?
They'd say, oh!
You see, I told you so. Now look at the year, 1880.
1880, oh, and I haven't got the dinner on yet. Oh, is that? Oh, they've murdered in their beds.
Hand me my tin hat. Now my sword. Now the blunderbuss.
Break hand, Henry.
Now, min,
Yes.
go and see who it is.
There's somebody who believes in... Come! Come in. Good evening, He's the man from the Credential, Henry.
Yes. Now, sir.
Hello, Auntie Mean. Hello, Uncle Croydon.
Hello, Uncle.
Hello, Uncle Croydon. I'm Squire Seagull of the Flaccapan Farm. Oh, hello,
Master Muckle, what have you been doing?
I've been watering the garden. In all the rain?
You must pardon Master Muckle. He's going through the awkward age, you know.
Been going through it for 48 years now, you know. Taking the long way round, eh? I ain't never met you before, have I? No. You see, I remembered.
What must the neighbors think?
I have called this meeting because of all this extraordinary weather.
Oh, you read in the paper that the Queen Anne rain, the mar.
Oh, it's Queen Anne's rain we're getting, is it? She's responsible. This is a very serious allegation against Queen Anne. Oh. If this is her rain, then we must ask her to stop it.
I'm a military man, sir. It's my duty as a senior scoundrel to ask Her Majesty Queen Anne to leave off raining.
I don't know how to stop rain, folks. If there was anybody who could, they'd be worth their weight in gold. And be very pretty stone. Who you? Explain those frayed collars.
They are part of our entourage. This man clenching a do-it-yourself beetroot is Count Jim Nabula's Moriarty, who will unleash a truth upon you.
The sky over England is leaking, and that's why the rain is getting in. Good. You two men claim the sky is leaking. What proof have you? Order proof.
Moriarty. Moriarty, play him our qualifications.
And there's more than 10 couples and many more than 10
darling, and the weather.
Meantime, 3 men are trying to cross the River Dicker by iron bedstead.
Well, it hasn't sunk yet.
It's not in the river yet.
And no, but if it doesn't sink on land, that's half the battle.
Loo!
What's Lou?
Half a battle, Waterloo.
Now all stand on the bed and lift it quickly before we realize it can't be done. Hup!
It's floating, and it fits the river perfectly.
Oh, the captain of this bird.
I am Sea Ranger Bottle of the Royal Upper Dicker Navy. Stand clear of the bed for action. Ow! My nut! You try that again. Ow! Don't do that again.
Let on make a tail on. If you hit Bottle, you hit me. Ow, he hit me! He hit me, Bottle.
You hit him again.
Oh!
What are you doing at the window, Ning? Oh, dear.
Queen, stop raining.
Thank heavens! I thought you'd never stop.
At last, a happy ending.
Not quite. That is a happy ending.
I think it's rubbish, frankly.
You're not wrong, Narelle.
Who was that bomb?
Ding dong, 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 in a light pole. Keep that up, keep up, keep up, lad up. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, in a light pole, lad. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, in a light pole, lad. Light pole, lad. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, in a light pole. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Oh, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, in a light pole. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, in a light pole, in a light pole.
Hear the crazy rhythm, driving me insane. Strike your partner on the bum. Oh, I got no clue. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Ding dong.
On a totally different plane, another British comedian had fond and finally tragic links with Australia. Tony Hancock was first heard on the ABC in a show that gathered together Sid James, Hattie Jakes, and local boy Bill Kerr in a weekly half hour of sublime suburban nonsense.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear. Ah, dear me. Stone me, what a life. What's the time?
2 o'clock.
Is that all? Oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, dear me. I don't know. Oh, I'm fed up.
Oi.
What?
Why don't you shut up moaning and let me get on with the paper?
Well, I'm fed up.
So you just said.
Well, so I am.
Look, so am I fed up, and so is Bill fed up. We're all fed up. So shut up moaning and make the best of it.
I wish I hadn't got up now. Your dinner wasn't worth getting up for, I'll tell you that for a start.
Oh, well, I don't know. I ate all mine.
That is neither here nor there. You also ate Bill's and Sid's and mine. I thought my mother was a bad cook, but at least her gravy used to move about. Oh, dear. What a life. It's Sunday. I've had a rotten dinner. It's raining. And I've got nothing to do.
There's plenty of odd jobs you can do around the house.
Oh, shut up. It's a day of rest. I'm not mending your bed again.
Oh, read the paper, will you?
Well, it makes you sick. I hate Sundays.
So do I, but there's one a week and there always has been, and there's nothing we can do about it.
It's not like this on the continent. It's their big day over there. All the cafes open and football matches and race meetings. Everybody's gay. Not over here, though. Everything's shut up.
I wish you would.
What's the time? 2:15. Another 9 3/4 hours. Depressing, isn't it? Don't care very much for Monday, either. My Saturdays are always spoiled thinking about Sunday. Here, I've just thought. When do you alter the clocks?
Today?
Do you put them forward or back?
Forward.
That'll get rid of another hour. Give us the clock. 3:20. That's better. Soon be Monday.
Well, I finished the paper. Now I've got nothing to do.
If Dick Bentley dominated comedy on the ABC before this, the next decade belonged clearly to one man, Spike Milligan. In fact, the two even worked together on a show called I Flew for Bismarck. But Spike's special brand of insanity was the trademark for a program that began in 1958, Idiots Weekly.
Now, folks, here is a record of me saying, hello, folks.
Well, that was Mr. Spike Milligan saying, hello, folks.
Yeah, that was John McLeod saying that was Spike Milligan saying, hello, folks.
And that was John Hewitt saying that was John McLeod saying that was Spike Milligan saying, hello, folks.
I suppose the ABC do know what they're doing.
We do it for the money.
Yes, but money can't buy friends.
No, but you get a better class of enemy. And now, folks, tonight's a drama.
The scene is the House of Lords in England, the year 1958.
My lord, I have news that is 6 feet deep.
That sounds like grave news.
Yes. At 4:30 this afternoon, as the crow flies, on Lord's cricket ground, Australia won the Ashes. And worse still, there were women and children present. Oh, good heavens, no. Oh, the poor Duke. Please, Queen Victoria has declared it a serious day of mourning. And the prime monster of the antipodes has sent this message of Australian condolence to us.
Dear Lord Thud, we all join in with yous in your great loss of the Ashes.
Somehow I detected a note of insincerity.
This is the General Overseas Service of the BBC. The British Navy will send the submarine surplus to try and bring the Ashes back to England.
Switch it off. Captain Snapson, what's our position?
Well, we're 30 feet down and crossing the Great Australian Bark, which is much worse than its bite.
I see. Right, up, periscope!
Remember not to stand there again.
Tea's ready.
We are police officers. And I must warn you, anything you say will be taken down and used in the Bob Rogers show.
I tell you, I am innocent.
Let's talk this over sensibly, in good old Australian style.
Finally, after friendly persuasion, some gentle talk, and a 4-hour bashing with an iron bar, the Chinaman gave up the garments and the ghost.
With trembling hands, we tore them open. Look, the ashes.
Yes. Now, steady now.
Right.
Hold out your hands.
Okay, don't worry.
I'll pour them out.
Safe at last.
It was around this time that the BBC came up with another winner, and one of the funniest shows of all time, which we in Australia took to immediately we heard it.
Now, for the young in heart and weak in the head, it's Round the Hall.
Well, hello, that was Douglas Smith, who'd like to clear something up. And so he should. He spilled it, after all. Now, today, as everybody knows, is Festoon a Gnome with Bacon Rind Day. Now, this week, the colour supplement turns its attention to commercial television, where the high quality of the entertainment is often spoiled by those annoying little interruptions, which we call programs. Now, a lot of people underestimate the power of the television commercial.
I'm standing in the kitchen of Mrs. Proudbasket's council house in Slough Bucks. 3 weeks ago, we asked her to take part in an experiment with her washing. Mrs. Proudbasket, you washed these shirts here in water, didn't you?
Yes, I did. And they come up lovely, shining bright.
Now, before that, you tried doing the family wash in different products.
Oh, yes, I did. I washed them first in sulfuric acid, porridge, and cocoa. But they never come up like this. And look at my hands. They are so soft and white now. Not like when I used sulfuric acid.
Hello, anybody there?
Hello, what do you want?
Oh, I was expecting somebody else. This is Guided Tripette.
Oh, yes, you want Master Julian and Master Sandy. I'll call them down. Oi, one of your regulars down here.
Oh, it's Miss Rose. Oh, so it is. How nice to value your dolly old Eke again.
Thank you. Tell me, who's your friend?
Oh, that's Gordon.
The one that used to be the attendant in the slipper baths?
Yeah, that's him. He's working for us now.
Sort of gentleman's gentleman.
You could say that. But he's more your odd job homie.
I take it you're interested in a guided tour of London?
Yes, I am.
Our motto, see London and die.
Yeah, but surely that's Naples.
No, London.
You'll die when you see the places we take.
We start off with all the usual sights, the lattice of Parliament, Buckingham Lattie, the lot.
Oh,
yeah.
Cruise round all the lattices, having a quick barge, huh?
Yes, that's right.
Then down your birdcage walk and up your mall.
That's your Pall Mall. You see?
Then a quick manjari on top of the GPO tower and back to the palace after that to Varda the changing of the guard.
That's right, changing the guard. And when he's changed, he's off to the city. Off to the city to see the gay bar G.
Yes. Always full of chums.
Very nice, though. They do a very good draft creme de menthe.
Oh, very.
Do a lovely head on it, they do.
Lovely head.
Thus revived, the weary travellers up the West End for the gay round of the night.
The Marine Commando Club, Paddington.
Yes. Pink Gin a Go-Go.
Reynard Laspoon's Club.
Oh, Reynard Laspoon, is that the famous female impersonator?
Yes, that's right. With our tour, you spend the whole evening at René Laspoon.
Yes, it's fantabulosa. Oh, what a spectacle. The lighting, the costumes, the makeup, the jewellery, the fave hairdo.
Well, it sounds remarkable.
It is, particularly when you consider that's only the waiters.
And now for another moment of truth. Here's rambling Sid Rumbo. What are you going to sing us?
Tis an air that I shall be doing on my new LP, so grundle your parts, and away we go. I'll sing you one, oh, green grows my bogling fork.
What is your one, oh?
One's the grunge upon my splod, masking my cord wangle. I'll sing you two, oh, green grows my bogling fork.
What are your two, oh?
Two are my lumen from, see how they gangle. One's the grunge upon my splod, masking my cord wangle. I'll sing you three, oh, green grows my bogling fork.
What are your three, oh?
Three are the times I've lunged my groats. Two are my lumen from, see how they gangle. One's the grunge upon my splod, masking my cord wangle. I'll sing you four, oh, green grows my bogling fork.
What are your four, oh?
Fourth my wordless bent, oh. Three are the times I've lunged my groats. Two are my lumen from, see how they gangle. One's the grunge upon my splod, masking my cord wangle. I'll sing you five, oh, green grows my bogling fork. Five of the wogglers up my spong fork. Three are the times I've lunged my groats. Two are my lumen from, see how they gangle.
One is the grunge upon my splod.
It's ruined my cord wangle.
The popularity of these shows persisted despite the takeover of television as the centre of entertainment in the home, and that's a trend that seems to be reversing itself somewhat now. For fans loyal to radio, Wilfred Thomas was still there, so was Ellis Blaine, the Goons, and still, 30 years later, the Village Glee Club.
The ABC presents the 1000th edition of the weekly series, The Village Glee Club. Well, here's our worthy conductor to say,
"Watch my beat, please." Thank you.
There's a woman over there not singing, please. It's terrible. It's very rude. Sing, woman. I want everyone singing, and the lady or gentleman who sings the loudest gets a free weekend in the Qantas VIP lounge at Heathrow. All right? Come on!
Barry Humphries had a relationship with Auntie long before he left Australia in 1959. I rather think he'd like us to describe it that way. He was a regular in many reviews, and Humphries, or more especially that exotic bird of paradise with the sake of a white pointer, Dame Edna Everage, was highly instrumental in a tit-for-tat deal of taking Australian culture to the Poms.
The image of Australia is precious to us all. Ayers Rock, the mighty Yarra, and the Warringah shopping mall. It's hard to think our heritage could meet with vile attack from expatriates who stabbed the hand that fed them in the back. That such vile knockers can exist, I do not understand. It's a very bad advertisement for our wide brown sunburnt land. So why not use the postage stamp at which we so excelleth, and thus proclaim the glorious name of our great Commonwealth.
There were quite a few funny things that happened on the way to this anniversary that were not all deliberate. News, current affairs and politics can often have amusing moments of their own, especially if they fall into the hands of people like Fred Dagg.
Yeah, g'day. In New York, teams of drug-crazed communists steal a typewriter from a city rubbish dump, and shuttlecraft Tedium-6 sends back the first pictures of the other side of Jupiter featuring close-ups of the huge red cloud, believed by many to be a huge red cloud. In Belfast today, a group calling themselves the Roger Casement Freedomo Fighters has claimed responsibility for the Second World War. And in sport today, reaction to the disclosure that Muhammad Ali is to be paid a record $9.5 zillion to defend his title against Olivia Newton-John. We'll be back after this update backlash. Here's me bus, I'll see you later.
The news in brief. The Prime Minister, Mr. McMahon, arrived back in Australia today after his overseas tour. He told newsmen at Sydney Airport that he could not have had more valuable discussions with both President Nixon and the British Prime Minister, Mr. Heath.
What about Spike Milligan?
But he refused to give details of before he had spoken in the House.
What about Spike Milligan?
Mr. McMahon also refused to comment when asked about criticism of him by two former ministers, Mr. Gorton and Mr. Killen.
And Spike Milligan?
The Prime Minister was met at the airport by his two children and members of the Cabinet, including the Treasurer, Mr. Snedden, and Spike Milligan. The Australian Post Office is doing good business in the United...
What? You'll never make it.
Is there anything that's captured your fancy or your imagination since you've been in this country?
Yes, I'm fascinated by Talbot Duckmanton.
Why?
I don't know, because it sounds like a village. I mean, it's only a short drive to Talbot Duckmanton, or it could be a wine. I'll just have a bottle of the Talbot Duckmanton 53.
I think I better change the subject, or can you think of some more names, otherwise I might get the sack.
Change it to whatever you like. Let's change the subject. Okay, let's talk about the performance I'm doing at the Talbot Duckmanton Theatre in a couple of nights, which is called An Evening Without Talbot Duckmanton.
As you look at me and know that I ended up as a minister and leader of the House, you'll know it didn't take brains or good looks or anything of that kind to get you there. You don't have to be as brilliant as Gough Whitlam, or as wealthy as Fraser, as trendy as Dunstan, or even as nifty as Neville Wren. All you got to do is be like Bjelke Peterson and apply the scriptures to your politics. You want to do unto others as they would do unto you, but do it earlier, more often, and better.
And now, a word from the Liberal Party.
The Mercedes-Benz.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And a word from the Labour Party.
The vehicle.
Thank you.
Blood oath.
And from the Country Party.
Shut the bloody gate.
And finally, a word from the DLP.
Yellow Peril.
You may have recognised the voices of Nolene Brown, Kev Goldsby and Ross Higgins. They're the stars of that show named Bravely for a Defrocked Deacon, who never really said anything. The show was the brainchild of two young writers, Tony Sattler and Gary Riley, whose work came to dominate new comedy programming from the mid-70s. Confounding its title, nothing about the naked vicar was ever sacred.
Friends, laying asunder the smugly self-righteous and therefore gloomy moral of today's parable, I have for you the results of last Sunday's combined Sunday Schools picnic and sports day. In the under 800 meter dash, our competitor beat the other 9 competitors by the handsome margin of 50 meters with the assistance from a slight breeze and 8 landmines. However, she was disqualified for calling the judge rude names and having a positive swab. But all was not lost, for we reaped a bountiful harvest at 10-1 when our boxer, little Roxanne McCoy, fought exactly to instructions and took a dive in the 6th. Proceeds from this betting coup will go to the Let's All Pitch In and Get the Vickers Lamborghini Panel Beaten Fund.
Yes, it's the all-new Eat Here or Take Away special Malcolm Fraser edition Naked Vicar Show.
And here it is, gardeners, the show you've been waiting for. Yes, it's time for Getting Rooted.
Cecil Simpson, superstar, ring-fingered savior with second eye.
Just a minute.
How you grasp your act was solid.
Cecil, stop this noise! Stop it!
Cecil, what's going on?
Singing, Cyril. It's the new syncopated opening to the show. It's called Cecil's Theme. It's funky disco, soul bump music.
You've been shooting up on your Grow Plus again, haven't you?
We interrupt this show for an official government bulletin.
In line with the government's... From today, all Preb reliefs will be typed by Mrs. Fravor. Signed, Tabby. BBC Television, in association with the Australian Broadcasting Commission and Time Life International, is proud to present... Sir Lawrence Olivier in The Search for the Nile.
Found it! It's over here!
The drama department at the ABC has swung on a pendulum between the grand tradition and the ultra-avant-garde, although comedy was never high among its priorities. This gap was filled most lately, again, by the Riley Sattler team. A radio veteran was the star of RS Theatre, and in The Birthday Boy, Graham Kennedy, facing the disturbing dilemma of how to enjoy the present from his mates.
Don't block the peephole with your thumb.
They'll see in.
They can't see in. Now, will you just relax and accept your birthday present in the spirit in which it is sold?
Sorry, but you see...
It doesn't have to be me. And in fact, the way you're jumping around, I'm glad it's not.
What? There are more of you? I've got a choice?
You have. You're the birthday boy. You can choose between the exotic delights of tiny lotus melon, whose geisha skills have given the Ginza goosebumps, or simmering Sonia, queen of the sauna and Venus of the Valkyries, or the ooh-la-la oomph-today girl from Gay Paris, Bridget Jackson, whose saucy ways drove the River Seine crazy.
Oh,
Look, they're all listed on the menu. Here, take it. Go into the waiting room. Pour yourself a nice long drink and work out what you want for your birthday. By the way, number 8 scratched because Kay's got the mumps.
Yeah.
Right. So go into the waiting room and give me a call when you're ready. Not that door.
Why not?
The ironing board will fall on you.
Oh. Yes, well, you can't blame me. It's my nerves. Bloody nerves. Got a mind of their own, nerves. That's why I work at the zoo now. I couldn't take the pressure of the other job. I used to come home every day and my wife used to say, Ted, you're becoming a nervous wreck. You're going to have to chuck in the wool classing and get a job at the zoo. So I did. And they went away overnight.
Your nerves.
I used to get tension freckles. Every time I walked into the wool store, whack, freckles everywhere. So embarrassing. I had to tell the blokes my bonox blew up in my face. Of course, then they made the bales during tea break and they wouldn't give me an ashtray. And of course, then there was a fire and Dalgety and New Zealand Loan found themselves a bit short of a 1977 wool clip and Doug Anthony had to fly to Peking and sit through an 80-course dinner in the Great Hall of the People and then stand up in front of 2,000 freezing Chinese and tell them their thermal underwear wouldn't be arriving because of my freckles. So now I'm at the zoo. I'll have the house special.
The house special's off. We're out of hundreds and thousands.
So, what difference does hundreds and thousands make?
What's fairy bread without hundreds and thousands?
Plain old bread and butter.
Precisely.
Point taken, point taken. Well, how about the two-girl butterfly tickle?
We're out of butter.
Oh.
Besides, the tandem's broken.
Oh, well, I guess it's the Japanese toe trembler then.
How's your heart?
Fine. All right. 2020.
Have you or your family ever suffered from any of the following diseases? Wooden legs?
No.
Epilepsy of the mind?
No.
Terminal bedwetting?
No.
Hereditary suicide?
No.
Chronic tattoos?
No.
Jogging cancer?
No.
Moustache leukemia?
No.
Tension freckles?
Damn.
Sorry.
Sneaking up on the unsuspecting Australian public, just as they'd done in England, was a team of university cohorts who became the leading lights behind a new lunatic fringe. This Oxbridge push began in the 60s and opened up a whole new comic idea that took the English-speaking world by storm in a series of programs that led eventually to Monty Python's Flying Circus. But, like many performers who later moved into television, they began under the aegis of brave BBC radio producers who gave them a chance to go on.
Schmurtot Proxil. Here again is our friend Franksel, and of course Golchas, Fafnir and S plus 2, with this week's lesson.
Schmurtot Proxil. This week, Golchas and Fafnir are in a restaurant. See if you can understand what they are saying.
Schmurtoti Trudelplash. Karot Schmurtoti Trudelplash Abklaptismut Schlagom Farawek ice cream. Abklaptismut Schlagom Farawek ice cream.
Did you notice that word Abklaptismut Schlagom Farawek? Yes, it means with. In Proxil, the word with is a compactive, multidiplastic, reversible preposition which alters simultaneously with the case, tense, number, gender, blood type, and barometric pressure of the preceding and succeeding nouns. Just as the word for off, our old friend propsnagdaloop, remember, turns back to front when you are talking to your mother and inside out when you're beaten up by the secret police. But here comes Ernstplast, just back from national service. Ernstplast is wearing a false beard because he can't afford a real one.
I think this is getting too silly.
Quite agree. Too silly.
While radio serials held audiences captive for decades with their high drama and heart-wrenching pathos, a cheekier type of serial emerged in the mid-70s. Sattler and Riley again, sending up that noble radio art in Doctors and Nurses, the mock Mills and Boone romances of Fiona Wintergreen, and Chuck Chunder.
Probing deep into the uncharted depths of the universe comes our hero of interstellar security, Chuck Chunder of the Space Patrol. Chuck Chunder of the Space Patrol.
Okay, Jimmy, the professor and I are going now. Now, you've got plenty of time to get to the church.
Okay, Faye.
And you keep a close eye on Chuck.
Okay, Faye.
I don't care if you have to drag him screaming. You're the best man. It's your responsibility to get him there.
Oh, Faye, why can't the professor be best man?
He's not fast enough. If Chuck bolts, we need someone who can run him down. Besides, the professor has to give me away, okay?
Oh, okay, Faye.
See you in church, Jim. Bye.
Golly, look at the time. Come on, Chuck. You can't be late for your own wedding. Chuck? Chuck! What happened? Why are you walking like that?
Oh, Jim, I feel terrible. A cold knot of fear has twisted my stomach and racked my very being with pain. I can't straighten up, Jim.
You've got your braces buttoned up to your garters, Chuck. Here, I'll fix it.
Whoa, yeah. Well, that's better. Thank you, Jim. I needed that. All right, now the tie. Ta-da! Well, look at that, Jim.
Well, it does look very colorful, Chuck, but can you stop it spinning and squirting water?
Oh, it's no fun then, Jim.
I know that, Chuck, but perhaps something a little quieter. Here, try this.
Oh, well, it's pretty plain. No hula girls or anything.
It's a plain, ordinary tie. Now, let's go. We're going to be late.
Oh, all right, Jim.
Now, come on, Chuck. Hurry.
All right, all right.
Oh, Chuck, I love you. My husband, at last.
Congratulations, Chuck, Faye.
Well, gosh.
Can I kiss you?
Oh, if you insist, Professor.
Not you, you fool!
Oh, Chuck, this is the happiest day of my life.
I know, Faye. I know. I'm wonderful.
Now the photographers are crowding round.
Helen, Miss Von Oz.
This is Chunder to you, fella, if you don't want to fat with.
You tell him, Faye.
And that's 50 years of comedy on the ABC. We have another 50 ahead of us. In fact, have you heard the one about... Oh, damn it, we've run out of time. I'll tell you later. I'm Bob Hudson, and the material was painstakingly compiled by Graham Pearce, a fine, talented chap who wrote this script and deserves more money.
You'll get the plastic, drip-dry OBE for this.
Get off. That does it. Fire!
Special thanks for the compilation of that material also are due to the ABC Archives Department and to Wayne Chapman for his fine technical assistance.
And then she dims the light, la-da-dee-dee-da-da-da-da, and then she holds me tight, la-da-dee-da-da-da.
From Bing Crosby's Paradise to the home front.
When a boy from Alabama meets a girl from Gundagai, all the world is in tune, and a sweet honeymoon will happen in the by and by.
From Gundagai to the rockers of the 50s.
Come on, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Well, everybody knows just what to do. Yeah, tune your set to Channel 2.
From blue suede shoes to blue eyes.
Baby's got blue eyes, and I am home again.
From Bing's Paradise to Elton's Blue Eyes. 50 years of entertainment radio.
You'll hear from Bing's Paradise to Elton's Blue Eyes at 5:30 this evening. And then at 7:15, John West conducts Sentimental Journey. Tonight, starting with Graham Evans in Melbourne, there's a selection of popular songs from 1932. In Sydney, the listeners' request section will include specially recorded requests from some famous people also celebrating their 50th birthdays this year. And we go back to that first week of July 1932 to hear what was entertaining us then in film, stage shows and radio. Also, a look at some of the top-selling Australian records since 1932, including Jim Davidson's 1932 Shuffle Off to Buffalo. Who could ask for more? It's 12 noon.